Ladies and gentlemen, boys and NBs, welcome back to the Warzone. Let's talk about the close range and sniper support meta with your SMGs primarily. I am sick and tired of running the Superi, and I am sure you are too, though I will go over one build you've probably never seen before and you will probably fall in love with. Outside of that, everything else in this video are guns that can compete with the Superi in any range and absolutely clap it from the SMG category. Some of them are quite obvious, others are absolutely not guns you're even thinking about. Stick around for the bonus at the end too. I'm going to give you some absolute laser beams to deal with the Kar 98 at 300 meters and anywhere in between. Before we get into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new here. My monthly report for June told me that 93.7% of my viewers were not subscribed, and that is an absolute travesty. Imagine not being able to find your way back here. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, so I said the first thing we were going to talk about was the Superi, and a build that most people aren't aware exists. This is actually a tac stance build that gives you a huge field of view. No one can drop shot on you, they can't get away from you, etc. It is able to hit every single bullet to 65 meters without fail in tac stance. It is insane. The movement is incredible on it. This is just broken. The Superi is the best gun in every category except for sniper. It is atrocious how good this gun actually is. It needs to be fixed. This is just sad, but this build is absurd. For the build, we're going to start with the ZEM 35 compensator as always. We're then going to throw in the Bore 99 short barrel so we can get movement speed, tac stance spread, etc. Rescue 9 stock to get recoil control and movement speed. I believe it gives a little tac stance spread as well, not a big deal. The GRVZ short grip that came with the new shotgun to give us even more tac stance spread, and then the 40 round mag to make this thing absolutely fry in tac stance. Running this gun in tac stance makes it so broken, it's insane. This is the way to run the Superi. If you do want to run this as sniper support, you simply swap out 2 attachments and it makes it way better for that longer range engagement. First, we're going to swap over to DR6 hand stop, then we're going to swap our barrel to the Hound Guard heavy, and then here's your sniper support build for the Superi. And again, I'm going to harp on the Ram 9 until the cows come home because this thing is absolutely at the top of the meta and it never left. Yes, it did get a nerf at the end of season 2, but that did not hurt this gun in any way. I mean, it did, but you know what I mean. The Ram 9 is insane. This is a gun that I would primarily use as an SMG behind one of the ARs, BRs, or LMGs. Stick around to the end of the video if you want to know which ones. And it will absolutely fry. In sniper support, it definitely has weaknesses, but that is not what a 9mm gun should be made for. With the build, once again, ZEM 35 compensator as always. We're then going to throw in the Armistice light barrel because this is going to up our movement for a little bit of lost recoil, and that is it. It also gives aim down sight and sprint to fire. This attachment is essentially a second DR6 hand stop. Speaking of, we're gonna add the DR6 hand stop. 50 round mag because it's the largest we have. Then we're gonna throw in the motion tac pad to get our movement up. This thing is absolutely incredible and no one is using it. The recoil pattern is quite literally just up and to the right. It is super easy to control and you will slap your enemies. You need an optic, just drop the motion tac pad, throw your optic on, the glassless or whatever, get the job done. The Ram 9 is slept on. I've been saying this for a while now. Throw in your loadout, go fry. It's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then there's certainly the safest option you can run for sniper support, and that is the striker itself. That's the regular striker, the 45 ACP version. This thing has 0 recoil and it has range of an AR. This build is absolutely absurd. It feels like you are running an MCW, but you're not. 48 round mag gives you enough to put down quads. It is absolutely wonderful. Let's get into the build. So for this one, we're actually going to use the ECS required suppressor because we can stay fully off the map with this. We don't need the ZEM compensator because it's just so good. So we're going to go with the ECS required so we get a little bit of ADS speed as well. You can use the Shadow Strike if you don't want the visible laser. It's not a big deal. But then we're going to use the Striker Elite long barrel to give us recoil control, stability, and push our range. We're going to pair that with the FSS priority tactical stock. This is going to give us recoil control, movement, and stability to make this gun absolutely fry. DR6 hand stop to bring up our movement even further to bring it in line with the Superi's movement speed. 48 round mag because 48 is more than enough with 45 ACP to slap 4 opponents. The Striker is so absurd right now. This is my favorite sniper support option in the game. Another bang up option is the WSP9, which it always has been. This is a very similar build that I've been running all year. I have thrown an optic on because I I don't know, man. The optic is just helping. I've liked the irons on this all year, but I think I've joined the dark side and thrown an optic on it. So let's run this build down. You all should know how the WSP9 feels. It's a slower shooting, hard hitting 9mm that absolutely dumps like a truck. They did nerf its range a little bit, but it still slaps to most ranges. And for this, once again, we're going to start with the ZEM35 compensator and then add the DR6 hand stop to up our movement, ADS, and sprint outs. We're going to throw on the WSP factory stock to do the same things. The Jack glassless optic to remove all visual recoil and give us a beautiful sight picture. And I have the 50 round mag on it because I was playing quads last night. Otherwise, I would run the 40 in solos, duos, or trios. If you need the 50, absolutely go ahead, but I don't feel the need for it outside of quads. The WSP9 is still an absolute banger, as it always has been. This is the sniper support build that I am running. So if you do want to run this as more of a run and gun SMG, what you're going to do is you're going to swap to the stockless, and then you're going to take the DR6 hand stop and go to the Phantom 5. And with this, you get way more vertical recoil control because that's all this gun has, and you get way more movement. This will allow you to fly around the map and absolutely wax your opponents. This is the SMG build. First build was for sniper support. Let's move on to the SMG. It feels like everyone has forgotten about, and that's because it's technically an AR with a conversion kit that makes it an SMG, but it is an SMG. And since the last patch, the BP50 with the Revenger kit uses SMG ammo, so you can run it behind an AR, not just behind a sniper or marksman. So you can run it with the Jack Raven MCW on Rebirth. You can run it anywhere behind anything is what I am saying, and this build is incredible. We're actually going to start with the Scratch 20L suppressor because this is going to give us a ton of firing aim stability and tighten up the RNG spread of our bullets. There's not a lot of attachments for this conversion, as you all know, but the Scratch 20 is an incredible suppressor that no other SMG has access to, so we will absolutely take advantage of it. We're obviously going to use the Jack Revenger kit to make this an SMG. That's a no-brainer, and this also gives us our 50 drum, which is beautiful. BLK 7mm laser to remove all of that RNG in our weapons recoil pattern. We're going to use the high grain rounds because this gun has absolutely no recoil, and we want to push our range out as far as we can without getting too silly with it. The CCG tack tape is going to give us sprint to fire, and it's also going to give flinch resistance, which does make sure that we are hitting our target where we want to hit them. No shots over the shoulder or over the head. The BP50 with the Jack Revenger is an absolute demon, and it's slept on. This is a gun I love to run behind something like the Rap H, which, if you don't know, the Rap H is absolutely insane right now, and it's a top 3 full auto mid to long range weapon. We'll get into that later though. Like I said, I got some bonus stuff for you. The BP50 Revenger kit is absolutely a top 3 SMG meta weapon. And then the last one I have for you is obviously the FJX Horus, because it is absolutely the best weapon you can use inside of about 12 meters. Nothing can compete with it at all within 12 meters because it is so dang good. You can also change to the Scimitar kit, the aftermarket part, and make this thing into essentially an AR and take engagements to about 60 meters for sniper support. Let's get into it and start with the SMG build. So the SMG build, as always, we're going to start with the ZEM35 compensator for the same reasons as always. Then we're going to use the Ruse 90 light barrel to up our movement and our aim down sight sprint outs so we can absolutely fly and fry. We have a 10.5 meter effective range here, which is more than enough because this thing absolutely fries. We use the Ripper light stock to get all of our movement, ADS, and sprint out without absolutely ruining the gun. OP SMG foregrip for the same reasons, ADS, sprint out. And then the 60 drum is what I'm using. However, you can use the 48 and duos and under, which I typically do. Again, I was playing quads last night, so 60's on it. 48 is more than acceptable. Now, if you want to run this for sniper support, I would absolutely throw on the aftermarket parts. We're going to drop a couple of things here to make sure that we can throw on the Scimitar kit. Oh, I didn't even take enough off there. That's okay. So Ripper light stock does stay, and we're going to add the glassless optic. That's to make sure that we have a clear sight picture for those longer engagements in the mid-range. We already have a 60 round mag, so we don't need to worry about that. That's why we're going to put on high grain so we can push our range even further. We're then going to throw on the ZEM35 compensator because it's the ZEM35 compensator to finish off the gun. We're going to fly, we're going to fry, we're going to be able to see everything. We're just going to demolish. I've been running this behind the FGX Imperium and having an absolute blast. The FGX Imperium is the absolute car killer, by the way. I'll go over it a little bit later. As for the Horus, both of these builds are absolutely incredible. You should give them both a try. That's going to wrap up the breakdown for the SMGs. Now it's time for me to give you that little bit of bonus I told you that I was going to give you. And like I said earlier in the video, the Wrap H is absolutely insane. The TTK on this gun is insane. The only downside is that it's going to take you 3.5 business days to reload, but you do have a 75 round drum before you have to worry about that. So you can wipe an entire quad before needing to reload. Actually, in the shooting range, I was able to kill 6 dummies before reloading with full plates. In practice, I typically get 3 to 4 kills before needing to reload, just because of movement, missed shots, etc. For the build, we're actually going to start with the Zem 35 compensator on a long range weapon, and that's because we're going to use a high velocity. And with high velocity, that's going to push our velocity to 957.5 meters per second, which is more than enough to hit shots out to 200 meters. So with the Zem 35 compensator, we're getting all of that recoil control in the vertical, plus a small amount to horizontal. Then we're going to pair that with the Bruin Heavy Support Grip, which this is one of the very few guns you should actually use this on, because the SP10 is typically better. However, on this gun, you do need all of that gun kick to level out your visual recoil. You'll also get that horizontal recoil control, but yes, you will take a small hit to vertical. That's what the Zem 35 is for. Then I'm using the KR Mortis Precision 2.5 times as my optic. Use the optic of your choice. Whatever you like, that's the one to go with. This is just my personal option. Then I'm finishing off with the FSS OLEV laser once again for the stability to make sure all of our shots are hitting in the mid-range with this weapon. We're getting aim down and sprint out, and sure, we could get more with the Chimera or Razorhawk, whichever it is on this gun, but with the OLEV, we're also getting aim stability and firing aim stability, which are way more important. We're not using this gun up close, we're using it at long range. The Wrap H is absurd and no one's using it. You can fry an entire lobby with this, and it is ridiculous. Then all right, let's talk about the FJX Imperium, because I brought it up earlier. This gun has a one-shot range of I don't know what. On SimGG, it is an infinite range, but I have had some shots at 200 to 300 meters that are not a one-shot. Under 200 meters, every single headshot I've hit has been a one-shot, and I've been using this now for a month. Every single headshot is a one-shot. I'm not using explosive ammo, I'm using high velocity. Let's get into the build and break it down. All right, so we're gonna start with the sonic suppressor, not for the range, but for the velocity, and we're not gonna get an ADS penalty from it. We're then gonna use the VLK 7mm laser for the stability, aim down, sprint out. As always, we've got the Rib 400 on here so we can get even more stability and a slight amount of recoil control to help us recenter for other shots. Field wrapped hand tape is what I have on. That's the only way to really get a boost to your aim down sight speed on this gun without any major negatives. You could take that off and throw on the Heinrichter if you would like. I like the optic on this gun, so I'm going to go with the field wrapped hand tape. However, the Heinrichter will make the gun a little faster. Another option is also the FJX Blast, and this bolt will just make you rechamber faster. Those are your 3 options for swap around on this. The FJX Imperium is the absolute epitome of sniping right now, and no one is aware of it. Use this gun, you will not put it down, and you will stop using the Kar 98 immediately. And then sticking with LMGs, I got one more LMG to show you, and that is actually that the TAC Evolvery is insane right now. 5.56 or 7.62, I just prefer it in 5.56. This thing shreds, and in 5.56 feels a lot like the M13B. It is a monster. With a 100-round drum, you are able to fry 2 to 3 targets at that long or even mid-range. Up close, if you need to use it, you can absolutely dump an entire quad. It does have a longer reload being an LMG, but that's the trade-off for being able to slap people at any and all range. With 7.62, you can do the same thing, but it is a slightly slower moving weapon. It shoots slower as well. For the build, we're going to use the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor. Obviously, it's going to give us velocity, range, recoil control. We all know this. The LRF Righteous Long Barrel, range, velocity, recoil, as always. OLEV laser for stability, both firing and aim idle. This is going to make sure we have 0 RNG in our shots, no sway whatsoever. We're also going to get aim down and sprint out. Once again, KR Mortis Precision is my choice. Use the optic of your choice, and then you can either use the 100-round belt of 5.56, or you can use the skeletal foregrip. If you use the skeletal foregrip, obviously you'll get the 100 rounds of 7.62. The gun will be roughly the same as far as moving around goes. You'll be shooting a harder hitting round with a slower fire rate. Both ways to build this gun are fantastic. However, 5.56 is the way I prefer to run it. Plus, I get the awesome async tracers, so you know, that's a bonus. bonus. The Evolvery is absolutely wonderful. I don't know why I don't see more of this gun. And then another gun that got a heavy, and I mean heavy-handed nerf a few updates ago was the SOA Subverter. But the Subverter is still absolutely in the top of the meta, and it will fry everyone on the map with ease. The build has changed quite a lot since it was in the meta, but it is super easy to use. It has essentially no recoil, and you can take out Car 98s anywhere downtown, rooftop to rooftop, and not even worry about if they're going to be able to hit you. For that build, we're going to use the TY LR8 muzzle, and this is going to remove all of the horizontal recoil, and I do mean all of it. We're going to use the Dozer 90 long barrel for our stability, more recoil control, range, and velocity. We're then going to double down and use the high velocity ammo, not the high grain, the high velocity, and this is so we can push our velo up, and that's going to bring our velo to 1020 and a half, 1020 and a half meters per second, which is more than enough on a AR or battle rifle. 50 round drum is our largest option, and again, I'm using the KR Mortis Precision because that is the one that I like. If you have an optic that you like, go with it as always. And before anyone asks in the comments, this is the Serpentine camo from DMZ. It is the hardest camo to get within Call of Duty as a whole. It's harder than getting a nuke camo. If you want me to do a tutorial on how to get this camo, comment below and I will absolutely make sure to do so. And as always, we always go over at least one DMR here on the channel, and here it is. We're gonna break down the EBR that I've absolutely been clapping cheeks with for the last week or so. Minor tweaks to the one I've given you guys about a month and a half ago, but the EBR is top tier meta. It has been all year. No one's using it. It is a 5-shot kill at any range with a singular headshot, and inside of its main damage profile, you can kill in 3 with a single headshot. For the build, we're gonna use the VT Spirit Fire Suppressor, range, velocity, recoil, all the good stuff. FTAC SP10 angled grip to get maximum horizontal recoil control, but mainly the stability out of it and not hurt our ADS. High velo rounds because we're more worried about getting the target hit than how far our damage range is, and this is going to bring our velo up to around 1100 meters per second. 20 round mag, largest we have. Semi-automatic, pretty standard, gets the job done. And then I'm using the Schlager Night View so I can see through smokes and absolutely clap people as my teammates are using the FJX Imperium, the Car 98, or any sniper they want to use. This allows me to clean up fights. It allows me to crack plates through smoke, all of that. This thing is so good, and I don't know why anyone isn't using it. Team comp is a huge thing within team play battle royale, and if you use this with teammates, you will absolutely leave the lobby with 20 kills with just decent teammates. And staying on brand, I'm going to give you the creme de la creme of if you use one gun and one gun only, this is the one to use. It is able to handle itself in every situation without problem, and that is the M13B or M13 Bravo. Fries up close, fries at 200 meters. It is absolutely wonderful. We're going to start with the Sonic Suppressor, range, velocity, not hurting our ADS, all that jazz. FTAC, SP10 angled grip, doesn't hurt our aim down sight, 12% to our horizontal recoil, and a bunch of aim stability. High grain rounds because this gun has no recoil. This is going to give us range and velocity as always. KR Mortis is my choice. Use what you like. And the 60 round mag, so we make sure we have enough bullets to absolutely fry at any range. The M13 Bravo is at the top of the meta. It always has been and it always will be. This is the easiest gun to use in the game right now. You will win games and you will have a very easy time dispatching your foes. And then all right fellas, that's gonna do it for me. Make sure to like the video, and if you're still here and you haven't subscribed, please make sure to do so. I would love to see you back. There's a Discord down below with over 200 people in it who are always looking for games. If you need people to play with, like the video, and until next time boys, leave me alone. We're on track.